Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming actually in the studio at Josh's work. He works at our church. It's called Good News here in Omaha, Nebraska. We absolutely love it, and I am up in the creative studio where he helps out with a lot of stuff. So he and his other coworkers are allowing me to use it for this time because I actually have some childcare downstairs. I'm getting a free block of time where I'm not being crawled on by small humans, that I can answer some of your questions. If you guys don't know me here, you're gonna get to know me a lot in the next few minutes. First of all, my name is Kristen Hoffman. I am a mother of 3 who loves thrifting, homemaking, and intentional living. That's kind of how I start out most of my videos. But yeah, it sounds like you guys wanna get to know a little bit more about me, not as much about the thrifting side, but just more personal side. So I am happy to answer those questions for you. I had you guys ask me questions, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago in one of my videos, and y'all did not disappoint. I swear I received so many questions and I was just honored that you guys are so interested. Thank you so much for commenting. Again, like I said in that video, y'all's comments, they really help me out in the YouTube algorithm as far as my videos being seen. So those likes, so those subscribes, the comments, you guys ringing the bell so that you're able to know right when my videos are uploaded. That helps me so much. So thank you all for your continual support. I seriously feel like I've got hundreds of moms out there that are here helping me through this. So if you are one of them, thank you. And if you're not one of my moms, my 800 moms, thank you for being here too. Anyways, I'm gonna get started with these questions because there are a lot of them. I'm gonna try to hit some of the ones that are easy to answer first and maybe get into the ones that take a little bit longer to explain later. But I don't know, I really organize these super fast, so we'll see how I get through them. I will say that the question that I got asked the most was, how did you and Josh meet? Or, what is your love story? All that mushy gushy stuff. You guys love Josh so much, and I do too, and I'm so glad that y'all love seeing him here. But I decided that we are going to make a video just on that because I feel like it would take up all the time on this video, just us going through how we met and starting our family and all that fun stuff. We're best friends. Y'all know that we would just start chatting and never stop. So I will make another video of that. You guys are also asking a lot of questions about finances and saving and ways other than thrifting that we make this work for us. I actually had somebody comment recently, oh my gosh, where was it? Let me find it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna start off with one of the more entertaining questions that I got. You guys always seem to enjoy these. I'm gonna be reading from my computer right here, so sorry if I am not looking directly at the camera while I'm reading these. Somebody asked me, she said, "You appear to be wealthy or higher middle class. Why are you shopping at thrift stores and depriving people of goods that they cannot actually afford?" Well, thank you so much for thinking that I look wealthy. I really try hard to look put together. And I do that by shopping at thrift stores. I buy mostly nice brands, and I generally don't spend more than $5 on any piece that I own, especially like a separate, maybe a dress I'll spend up to $7. On almost all of my clothing, I buy 100% cotton or linen, or, I try to buy like really nicer brands, things that have stood the test of time, that are vintage, or that I know will continue to stand the test of time. So thank you for thinking that I look wealthy. And as far as our income, I looked it up. For a family of 5, we are below the poverty line. And I know that you guys are probably gonna be kind of shocked by that, but when I say that your support for me on YouTube helps, it really helps, and our family genuinely needs it. And I think that people like to assume that people that look like me or that live in houses that look beautiful, that automatically means that we make a lot of money. And that's not at all true. So if you guys think that I look a certain way, don't make assumptions, because you never know who out there is actually wealthy and how many people out there just are really good at thrifting. Honestly, a big reason why I started this channel was to show God's provision, because I had a hard time being able to see the future and being like, God, will you really provide for us? Like, with this income, will you really give us a life that's beautiful and enjoyable? I was trying my best to be grateful, even though I felt like life wasn't looking the way that I always thought it would. I grew up in a middle-class family, and I think that parents always expect that their kids are going to make more money than they did, and that they want to set their kids up to be successful and have their idea of success. And even though I think it's taken a while, I really do feel like our parents now believe that we are successful. And we've got a loving family. I'm able to stay home with our kids. We are truly, truly blessed. So even though we fall within that income category, thank you for thinking that I look wealthy. I will continue to do my best. All right, next question. I love your children's names. Have you ever explained why you decided to choose them? Well, Rosie, was always my favorite name for the longest time. And we actually lucked out because when I married Josh, his grandmother's name was Rosalind Hoffman, just like Rosie. It was perfect, like not only was it my favorite name, it was a family name for him. She also has red hair and blue eyes, just like Rosie. And she's who actually recently passed. And so I'm so thankful to be able to have a daughter who has her namesake. As far as Ruby goes, it was another name that I've just always loved. I really love classic names, and I loved that Rosie and Ruby were both short, classic names that were like red, like Rosie and Ruby can be red. As far as Ivy, it was another name that I always thought was beautiful. I love Ivy, and I think that we're going to stick with like either, I always call them like botanical names, like names that are like flora, fauna, or like, I don't know, animal, mineral, like all that kind of stuff. Things that remind me of beauty in nature. Ivy just seemed like such a natural fit. People were surprised that we did not go with an R name. We actually do have some other R names picked out for future children, and I have some names that are not R names picked out for future children as well. So some of you guys did ask if we were planning on having more kids. The answer is yes. I would love to have at least one more child. I would love for each of the girls to be able to have a little buddy, if that makes sense. I feel like with 3 girls, there's a high chance of one getting left out. And so it would be nice if we could pair them up. And if we have any more after that, it probably won't be planned, but it doesn't mean they will not be welcome and loved. We have been so excited for each and every child that's come into our life, and we believe that the Lord says to be fruitful, and whatever that means for us, we are going to trust God's plan for our lives, even if it's to have more than 4 kids, which kind of sounds like a lot, but people do it all the time and they do great. So that's where we're going with that. Next question is, how old are you? I am 34. I just turned 34 in June, and it's crazy to me. I think I always had an idea of what being 34 was like, and this does not feel like it at all. I feel like I'm 21, and that's pretty much what people say to me all the way up until they die. So I have a feeling I'll probably be feeling like this for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that. How many brothers and sisters do you have? I am one of 4, kind of. I have one full sister who is 2 years younger than I am. Her name is Kayla, and we love her dearly. She lives here in town in Omaha. My parents got divorced when I was young. They got divorced when I was 5, and then my dad wound up marrying pretty young. I'm not gonna say how young, but caused a little bit of drama in the family back in the day. But they are still married to this day, 20 something years later. They've got 2 kids, and she is one of my best friends. My mom is also just wonderful, and I love having her in my life. But Amy, my stepmom, is also wonderful, and I've got a brother who's 19 and a sister who is 15 through them. And so, we see them like on a weekly basis too. They are my half brother and sister, but we've always just called each other all brothers and sisters. Somebody asked, are you Christian or LDS? And truthfully, I had to look up what LDS meant when I got that question. I am not familiar with the Mormon church, but we follow Jesus. So where did you go to college, and what did you study? I went to college in a few different places. I actually started at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, so UNL, the Huskers. I attended there for 3 years. I made the mistake of the college experience. I think my parents' experience of college was a lot different than my experience of college. My mom was in a sorority. Personally, I didn't have any interest in being in a sorority. My dad lived in a dorm where everybody was so close, and he made some of his lifelong friends there. I moved into a huge dorm where literally nobody spoke to each other. It was a really disappointing experience going to college. My second year, I moved in to a smaller dorm. It was still pretty big, but it was all individual rooms. Like nobody had roommates or anything like that. And it was very uncomfortable. Like, I know that this sounds crazy, but I would walk in, I would say hi to people, and literally nobody would even look up or say hi to me or acknowledge me or anything. And so after a while, it just got really discouraging. Then I wound up moving out, getting an apartment. The reason why I say it was a mistake was because I chose to take all of my what do you want to call them? I chose to take all of my like basic classes, you know, like my math, English, all that at the university and pay the university price. And I so wish that I would have just taken those classes at a community college, saved all my money. Honestly, my best friend still remained here at the church. And so we would drive back from Lincoln to Omaha all the time to see our friends here. And so my last year, my core group of friends and I down in Lincoln, we all moved back up to Omaha, and we decided to finish out our classes in Omaha. So I did my more advanced classes at UNO here, and then I took my kind of filler classes at Metro, the community college here. I did wind up graduating from UNO with a bachelor's of science in fine arts with an emphasis in graphic design. After that, I was a graphic designer for about 5 years, and then I was an art director for a while, and then I moved jobs. I was a graphic designer again. Like altogether, it was about 10 years that I did graphic design. Then I wound up losing my job, which was devastating, and I decided to start my painting business, which some of you guys know about. I talked about it last year. I did that for about 4 years, and until I injured my hand and I can no longer do that. That's when I started YouTube. People said, "Are you gonna start a painting channel?" And I said, "No, I'm gonna do my real I'm gonna do my real passion, which is thrifting and saving money." And so that's what this channel has been about. There are many sides of me, and artist is one of them. But I think the older that I get, the more that I realize that the Lord is just moving me out of that season, and that's okay. Like now I'm getting more into a season of motherhood and just trying to be more intentional with how I'm living. So yeah, that's that question about my education. There you go. Got myself a bachelor's. Okay, next, where are you from? I'm from here in Omaha, Nebraska, born and raised in the Ralston area. Like many people from Omaha, I couldn't wait to get out and do something more exciting. You know, this is a very flat area of the country, and we've got cold winters and hot summers. You know, I think I was ready for somewhere a little bit more mild. So like many people, I moved out. I moved to Dallas for about 3 years. That's where I'd met Josh. We got married, and then he actually wanted to move back here. I was very surprised by that because he has always lived in big cities, and he decided that he wanted to live here. Well, after we moved back, we just really began to enjoy the city. We moved to a really diverse area, and we go to a very diverse church, and we were just so enriched by the city. I cannot tell you how invaluable family is. The fact that most of my family lives here is such a blessing to us. And thank goodness Josh's family just finally moved to Springfield, Missouri, which is only 5 hours from here, as opposed to California, which was like 2-3 days drive, 2 days minimum. We are so thankful to have them close, and honestly, the flat doesn't bother me at all because we've got so many amazing people in our life, whether it's our family or our church. When do you guys get ready for Christmas shopping? A few days before Christmas. I have found out that I am a terrible planner. This is something that I've only realized about myself in the last few years. I always thought that'd be so fun to be like a wedding planner, but I realized that I don't love to plan things. I just like to attend things. Same with, you know, gifts. Gifts is my lowest love language. It's my husband is one of his top ones. And so that's an area where I really need to step it up. And I don't think about them very often, to be honest with you. Will you host Thanksgiving and Christmas? We usually do Thanksgiving kind of at my dad's house. My dad has a house that he is able to host extended family and everything over there. And so we usually do like our big family Christmas the Saturday after Thanksgiving at my grandma's house with all of my cousins and all of the, you know, their kids and everything. My grandma is 98 years old, and we love having Christmas at her house. Christmas, I actually wound up hosting Christmas this last year with my mom and my sister, and I think that that worked out really well, and I'm excited. I think that we should continue the tradition and keep Christmas at our house moving forward, so I'm excited for that. Do you homeschool, or will the children go to school, public or private? So we have homeschooled over this past year, and I have really enjoyed it, but if you guys know anything about the Enneagram, I know some people are for it, some people are against it. I'm absolutely a type 7, and the type 7 is like the adventurer. I love to go and have fun. I love to go exploring, but with that, and again, like I spoke about before, I'm also terrible about planning. We've done really good this last year as far as I feel like Rosie is really close to being able to just read by herself. However, I am not great about being very scheduled with getting our lessons done, you know, so it'd be like, you know, let's go do this, let's go party, you know, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, oh shoot, I don't even know if we've done school yet this week, you know, so then we would just try to like shove it all into a day. I'm not saying we didn't have fun, and I'm not saying she didn't learn. I'm just saying that I struggled with consistency. And so I was honestly a little bit nervous about it moving forward. The school district that we moved into is actually the #1 in all of Southwest Iowa, and I could literally throw a rock and hit the elementary school or the high school. And so I think that this year we are going to try public school just because the schools are so good in our area. But I told Rosie if she doesn't like it, then I am like jumping to have her come home because I have loved having her with me. I'm also a little bit nervous for Ruby because I don't know if she will be as apt to learning under me as Rosie is. I don't know, we'll see. I would love to continue homeschooling, but I would also like to see how they do in public school too. Private school is not an option for us. As I said prior in the video, we cannot afford it. How do you keep yourself in shape? Literally by nursing and carrying around babies. I don't work out. Josh works out a lot. It's like actually one of his passions. It is not one of my passions. If I run, I feel like I'm going to die. I don't mind lifting weights. I'm already lifting babies all the time, so lifting more weights on top of that just kind of seems redundant. Plus, I'm just so exhausted. When and why did you start thrifting? So I started thrifting when Josh and I were getting ready to get married. I was actually very nervous about it because there was this stigma that I had had always growing up that thrifting was for people who were like in poverty or people who were coming off the streets, or that it was just kind of sketchy. Also that it was dirty, that respectable people didn't go to thrift stores. And when we were getting married, there was lots of things that we needed. We had a house to decorate. And as y'all know, as a young person, I think I made like $25,000 a year at that time. We just didn't have any money for any decorations. So we actually had a year of no right after we got married where we had to say no to literally everything because we would have times that we would go check our bank account and we would literally have cents in the bank account. And so there was no room for anything extra. And so that's why I started thrifting, and I just fell in love with it, especially as I've lost my creativity in my painting and design. And I feel like my creative outlet has gone into home decor, and thrifting is obviously the best way to get home decor, obviously. All right, and I think the last question that I'm going to address today before I make a video on our marriage and how we met and everything, and another video on finances. You guys have got lots of money questions, but the last question will be, I would love to be able to do the YouTube stuff that you do, and I would love to know how you got started. So I actually started filming my YouTube videos for 6 months before I got the courage to even upload one. I felt very insecure about my age, which I know you guys probably think is silly, but I really thought that YouTube was like a young person's game, and I didn't know that anybody would ever even watch my videos. I thought it was mostly like 21-year-olds on here, and that they are not interested in some 31-year-old talking about, you know, grandma style over here, vintage or antiques or anything like that. So I recorded all these videos. I also was towards the end of my pregnancy, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I also was nervous about committing to something while having a newborn, but I just loved it and I was so excited for it, and I love watching thrifting videos, and so I thought you guys would love to join me. One day I just did it. I just uploaded it, and the video was not perfect. I feel like in some ways they've gotten better. In other ways, I don't feel like I've progressed at all as far as my videos go. But I just started doing it, and thankfully you guys have liked them so far. It has just been an amazing year full of support. I know some people are really nervous about negative comments. To be truthful, I know I kind of mentioned one earlier in the video today, but I really get 99.9% positive and encouraging comments from you guys, which mean the world to me. They really help me and encourage me to continue doing what I'm doing, and it helps me to be able to share Jesus with you guys and like the provision that he has done for us. It helps me to remember the provision that he's had for us so that I don't fear for our future. It's been a beautiful platform for me, and I hope to be able to continue to do it for as long as possible. So again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And again, please, subscribe and like the video. And if y'all want, you can always go visit me over at Instagram at Kristen K. Hoff. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up, head out, go get some lunch with Josh, and then I gotta edit this video. And someday I'm gonna take all these plants home. These are all the plants from our house that Josh has been keeping here at work. He's been watering them for me, and they're like all dying. So anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.